Good evening, everybody. I like to do an evening vlog, and it's usually before I take Max, my lovely chihuahua, for a walk. Hi guys, my name is Crystal. I'm a single woman from Rochester, and I vlog my everyday life, as well as put in a few cheerful little balloon videos for people that enjoy them. Alexa, what's the time, please?
It's 6:41 p.m.
So it's 6:41 p.m. Last night I was watching DJE Media, one of those auditing people that go around auditing places, and he usually audits immigration hotels. So I was watching him last night. Today I've been watching Ricky Killeen because I'm interested in prison life. Yes, I am. And I like crime series. I watch a lot of crime people that tell about true life crime. So I was watching Ricky Killeen, and he was outside HMP Franklin prison, like showing the outside of it and talking about Levi Belfield being in there and Ian Huntley. So I was watching that just now. So I've been watching YouTube videos. I've been very, very quiet since this afternoon because I've been feeling off colour. I suffer from heartburn, which can be a pain in the arse, to be honest. It's very painful and it stops you enjoying your food and eating. So I looked online and I'm trying to eat smaller meals and nothing that's too acidic. So I've been feeling off colour. I've not been feeling my normal self, as well as battling with depression, and everyone that has depression knows how bad it can be. You can hardly do things that you want to do. Washing up is a chore, and getting up off the sofa is a chore when you're depressed. And also, things hurt more when you're depressed, where you would brush off silly comments, people being stupid. When you're depressed, it's a lot harder to deal with negativity. So I've been finding it very difficult over the past few days. So let's go through what's happened today. So I woke up at 6 a.m. in the morning. I laid back down. Somebody, either accidentally or on purpose, rang my buzzer, number 5. And I went to the buzzer and there was nobody there. But then I'm not stupid, so I didn't worry about it. I just laid back down again, and then I got up a bit later. I fed my cat. My cat Nikki is still extremely thin and I'm worried about her, so I'm feeding her up. I fed my other cat, fed Max. And I thought, I've got to get myself out of this because I'm going on a downhill slope to self-destruction. So I made myself go to the shop. I made myself go to the co-op. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go outside those doors, but I made myself. Didn't have a lot of money, but I made myself go. I hadn't seen a newspaper. I hadn't been into the shop all weekend because I'd experienced a load of noise upstairs. It had upset me. It made me feel awful. And I didn't do anything over the weekend. Didn't do anything at all. Didn't accomplish anything, didn't do anything, because that noise can be so unbearable, it makes you feel horrible. So, I forced myself outside. I went to the co-op and I grabbed a black basket. I got some bananas, I got healthy food, I got some broccoli. mashed potato, and I saw Kim in there. Kim was in there, the lady with the long blonde hair. And, you know, I was feeling dodgy. I was feeling ill, pissed off, depressed. But I pushed myself in there. Got my basket, got my bits. And I felt dizzy and hot. And I wanted to be served. I didn't feel that I wanted to put it all through the self-service checkout. So there was a guy. Kim was talking to a tall, grey-haired man, all smart with his wallet. And he took ages to be served. It was like 2 women were all over him, serving him and seeing to it. So I went around to the shop again, seeing if there's anything I forgot or I would like. That's when I found the jelly babies. And then there was a woman in front of me. Then Kim served me. She said, "Would you like a bag?" I said, "Yes, please." She put my shopping in the bag. And she started chatting about the chihuahuas that were about £600 and would reduce to £300, which is still beyond my price range. And she said maybe the lady would come to a payment plan. Kim said she had my phone number and she would get in touch if the lady would agree to a payment plan or paying it in installments, you know what I mean? So that's what happened in there. I said, "See you later" to Kim. I left the co-op. Me, Crystal did. I'm Crystal. Walked down the road, came back into my flat, and then I thought, well, maybe I should, you know, see if my mum is okay. I haven't seen my mum for over 3 weeks. So I rang my mum up, and she wasn't answering the phone, and I rang it for ages and ages and ages before I rang the police. And I rang the Kent police at 10 a.m. this morning. And it was near when I went out to take Max out for a walk in the afternoon that they rang back and said that they were round my mum's, and they let me speak to my mother, who was very, very irate. She was very angry. She shouted down the phone at me. And she said, "Maybe you can come up Genestra." She didn't call me Crystal. She said, "Maybe you can come up Genestra in a taxi." I can't afford a taxi, and I'm feeling ropey myself and dizzy. And then she told me that she's got men round there doing her bathroom. So I'm going to leave it till the guys have finished doing my mother's bathroom, you know. I'm a very fragile. I feel very fragile and unwell at the moment. I don't need like 6 foot blokes towering over me. I'm a 5'5" woman. So she said she's got blokes in there doing the bathroom. Sue's going in there, so my mum is perfectly alright. She's told me that her phone is broken and she can't ring me. So I can't contact my mother at all. But she sounded okay. She sounded very, very cross and upset. And she said, "If you come up, don't bring your dog." Don't bring your dog is what my mother said. I have had a cat go missing for 3 weeks and she's in a terrible state. It's going to take ages for her to get back to the weight she was. I've got pictures of Nikki before she went missing. I'm obviously worried about my cat being left alone, as weak as she is. Max is a pedigree chihuahua. He's worth a bit of money, and if he goes missing, he is my best friend. He's my pride and joy, and I don't want him to go missing, right? My not even allow me to take the dog up there, even if I ring the taxi service. So, I don't know what to do at the moment. I'm surprised that she didn't tell her neighbour that the phone wasn't working, because Sue's got a mobile phone, and my mum could have used Sue's mobile phone to ring me, because my mum said her phone packed in yesterday morning. So the police didn't come round to see me at my address, they went straight round my mother's. You know, you've seen my post. I've got a debt letter from Huddersfield. I've got to be careful with my money because my gas is going right through the roof, and so is my electricity. If I spend money on taxes, which are what can be £15 a time, that is my gas and electricity bill. And I don't want to end up like I did in Gloucestershire, where I ended up a size nearly 8 and nearly starving to death and depressed as fuck and nearly dying. I talked to my son this morning. I've spoken to 2 police people. I've spoken to my mother, she's okay, and I spoke to Kim in the shop this morning. However, depression is one of those things that they call it the black dog because it's like a dark cloud over you and it can just come on you for no reason, okay? And then all of a sudden it might be 6 weeks later, it goes away. But while you're going through depression, it's very, very crucial, that you take care of yourself and get yourself to the hospital, which I was thinking of doing 2 days ago, when I felt really, really rock bottom and really, really bad. You see, my son took off to Gloucester. He's not there now. Before Christmas. And he's not here. He's not here. He's just gone. I haven't seen my son in months. And at one point, my son was my carer. He looked in on me and took me to places and helped me with my flat. But now he's gone and I've been left on my own totally, with no emotional support, no company and no one there. My mother is elderly and she's got her neighbour going in there and checking up on her. I've got absolutely nobody, and at times I can feel really damn awful. I try and make myself smile, I try and watch videos, I try and get on with things as most people do. They don't like to show that side, but I think you need to show that side to show that you're a real person and you're not this hard, strong individual all the time. You know, I do break down in pieces sometimes. Things do get on top of me, especially when I get used by men over the phone wanting sex chat. And it's not real company, is it? It's not real company. It's just you sat with the phone and they want to talk dirty on the phone and you can't see who you're talking to. Is it a man? Is it a woman? It could be anybody. And then the text that you say over the phone, right? So when you get to know someone over the phone, when you're trying to get to know someone over the phone, as someone told me to do, get to know me then. Like you say, how old are you? Where are you from? Do you drive? Do you have pets? What's your favourite colour? So I say to the person, what colour is your car? And they tell me they say it's red. Then a red car will come down the road. It will. And it makes me feel a bit scared. Because I feel feel like my texts and my chats being invaded. It feels like everybody knows what I'm saying to someone in WhatsApp or in Facebook dating. And that's not nice. That should be private. It's not a nice thing to do. So I'm always wary, and I know what they're up to. And you can't have anything private. I know exactly what they're up to. Reading private text. And they can also make you think you're absolutely going insane. And someone will say to me, they'll say to me in a text, in a WhatsApp, "Oh, you're lovely." And then someone will go underneath my balcony and go, "Ugh." I can film it. I could film it happening. And one of these days I will film it happening. I'll get a text saying, "You're lovely, Crystal." And then someone will go underneath the balcony and go, "Ugh. What you doing, Crystal?" "I'm watching the telly." And then someone will yell out, "Ugh." Makes you feel really rotten. As if life isn't bad enough anyway when you're on your own with no support. And that happens. So I'll sit in my flat for hours, really, really, really quiet. Because I can't have any conversation, I can't have any chat, because the big Pinocchio nose comes out. Nosy! A big, huge noses into my private affairs. Their nose must be absolutely massive. Right. Alexa, LBC Radio.
LBC London from Global Player.
Torquay is ancient seabed. The problem is not the tunnel, the problem is where they want to start it and where they want to bring it out at the western and the eastern portals. They're still within the World Heritage Site, and it will damage not only archaeology that they know about at one end, but at the other end it will also cause light pollution for the setting sun of the winter solstice. And that's one of the alignments of Stonehenge. Everybody knows it's aligned for the rising sun of the summer, but not a lot of people know that directly opposite is where the sun sets at winter, and you won't be able to see that because that's exactly where they want to put the portal, and that's where all the light pollution will come from cars at night. Now,
I see.
The thing is, we spent a lot of time and a lot of energy, a number of different inquiries throughout the years. We stopped this going ahead. In the 90s, we stopped it again several times because every time they keep coming up with a really bad solution. I mean, it's not as if it starts and finishes either side of the World Heritage Site. Their idea is actually in the middle of the World Heritage Site, and that's why UNESCO are saying they shouldn't build it. They're only inspectors, which I gave evidence to over a 2-year public inquiry, said they shouldn't build it. Then Grant Chap said, "Well, we're going to build it anyway." So then
let's just finish up. Arthur, sorry.
Critical, and they said, "Well, no, you can't build it."
Arthur, let me just jump in there. I'm sorry, but it is an astonishingly beautiful site, and we all remember Tess of the D'Urberfield dying there and all of that. Is it safe to say that the fight against this tunnel isn't over and it goes on and on?
Inquiry, and their inspectors have ruled against them. They said they're going to do it anyway. It's a really bad idea at both ends, the western end and the eastern end. One end will damage a lot of hitherto unknown archaeology at a site that's known as Blickmead, which is where...
Okay, we've run out of time. Arthur Uther Pendragon, thank you very much indeed. We spoke earlier in the show about the NHS and the doctors' consultants strike, their first joint strike in the history of the NHS. and I spoke to one of the country's most eminent doctors, Lord Robert Winston, about what the impact of industrial action could be.
It inevitably means that lives will be lost. You know, I can't help thinking that just 2 years ago my wife died because we didn't get an ambulance in time. And of course that sort of thing is going to happen. It won't be exactly like that, but it will be similar. There is bound to be unnecessary grief and unnecessary horrendous things happening.
You can listen back to that highly emotional interview on Tonight with Andrew Marr, the whole show podcast on Global Player, where you can also listen back to all the other LBC shows and rewind live radio. Download Global Player for free from your app store or visit globalplayer.com. Coming up at 10 on LBC, it's Ben Kentish, but right now it's Ian Dale.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Well, Sir Keir Starmer has been in Paris today meeting President Macron, coincidentally on the same day that it's being reported that France and Germany are drawing up plans for a 3 or 4 speed Europe and to bring the UK back into the EU's economic orbit. Effectively, they're coming up with ideas to encourage Britain to rejoin the single market, but would be free to continue making our own trade deals. Is this something you think Keir Starmer should countenance? Because if he does, it would mean ditching another pledge and sticking 2 fingers up to the red wall. 0345 6060 On cross question 8, comedian, documentary maker and author Dom Jolly, Foreign Affairs Select Committee Chair Alicia Kearns, the IEA's Matthew Lesh and Labour MP Siobhan McDonough.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation, this is LBC.
From Global's newsroom at 7 o'clock, Lord Robert Winston has told LBC he would advise consultants and junior doctors in England not to walk out tomorrow. Members of the British Medical Association are taking their first ever coordinated action. Thousands of operations and appointments have been cancelled as a result of the dispute over pay. Broadcaster and Professor of Science and Society, Lord Winston, has told Tonight with Andrew Marr it's regrettable.
The risk of a strike is very serious, not only for patients, but actually also for medicine, because I believe it has a corrosive effect on healthcare. I wish they were not striking, I have to say. It inevitably means that lives will be lost, and therefore there is bound to be unnecessary grief. I think the government has behaved horrendously badly, but I regret that the doctors finally feel forced to strike.
The government has outlined plans to use new legislation to introduce minimum staffing levels. The Home Secretary has acknowledged the government's failings in the protection of detainees at an immigration centre. Suella Braverman says she is carefully considering the findings of a report into Brook House in West Sussex. The chair says people staying at the centre in 2017 were mistreated in prison-like conditions and staff were quick to use force. LBC's reporter Rebecca Brady has been looking through the review carried out by Kate Eaves.
Today's report says there was a toxic culture at Brook House, which was run by the contractor G4S. That company said in evidence that the 19 incidents of mistreatment involving 16 men primarily came from a small number of staff. But Ms Eaves has rejected that claim, saying the narrative tries to distance both the government officials and the contractors themselves from their responsibility for the detention centre's culture.
LBC has learned the amount being spent on housing asylum seekers in hotels has increased by a third. As of the end of June, the cost of the Home Office had reached £8 million a day, up from the £6 million quoted by the Home Secretary yesterday. The government has announced emergency measures to help Birmingham City Council balance its books. Community Secretary Michael Gove says commissioners will be appointed to manage its financial affairs. The local authority says it would limit all but essential spending after effectively declaring bankruptcy. Sir Keir Starmer says he's pleased with how talks went with the French president in Paris. The Labour leader has been meeting with Emmanuel Macron to discuss what he'd do if he became Prime Minister. France correspondent for Politico Europe, Clea Colcutt, told Andrew Marr Starmer made a good impression.
They talked about US, China, energy, security, all these general topics. I think the French, were quite pleased with Starmer, that we're getting positive vibes, that he's articulate, he's sensible, he's, trying to project leadership, and I think this is sort of work in progress.
And following years of delays, the Online Safety Bill has been signed off by Parliament. Social media companies will be given new responsibilities to remove illegal content. Ministers claim it will make the UK the safest place in the world to be online. In the city, the FTSE 100 has closed up 7 points at 76.60. The pound buys $1.20.
Right guys, I've got to get ready to take Max out for a walk. Like I said, the past 3 or 4 days have been very depressing, very isolating, but I'm getting through it. And I've done that all by myself. See you later.